Dzień dobry, good day. That's good day in Polish. I am back from our trip to Europe. We've had a very busy year preparing for this trip. It wasn't just a typical vacation type of trip, but it had two major goals with it. So, first of all, the primary reason we went was for a Bible convention. So there were 7,100 delegates that were chosen from 20 different countries for this event. The venue where we met had about 34,000 in attendance. It was tied in with 9 locations and had over 100,000 in attendance countrywide in Poland. So that was our primary reason for being there. So the other types of things like stationery shopping and things like that were all secondary and usually a little rushed. So you'll see that with some of the products that I ended up picking the one day that I had time to visit a stationery store there in Warsaw. A second reason why we chose Poland is because that's where my dad's side of the family is from. So, my great grandparents, all of them, immigrated from Poland to the US many, many years ago, early 1900s. So, a lot of the culture, the language, and different things like that had been lost through the generations. Now, I do remember my grandfather and his brothers playing things like polka music. He played the violin. I do remember them doing that when I was younger. But other than that, I didn't really know much of anything about the Polish culture. Now, my parents had an opportunity to go to Poland twice for this same type of event in the past. So they had told me if I ever had an opportunity to make sure to go to Poland. And I'm so glad I did because it was for the first time I really got to learn about the heritage on that half of my family. Now, those who haven't been regular on this channel, I'm originally from Japan, but my dad is Polish American, raised in Texas. So I've had a childhood between both cultures, both in the US and in Japan, but I never got to know the side in Poland. Now, what I'm wearing, these are all gifts from friends that we met in Poland. So the first day we were there, that congregation gave me the scarf, and then the earrings were the second congregation that we visited. Um, the bracelet was in one of those convention days where we're giving gifts to each other, is where the bracelet came from. I did buy the headpiece because everyone was wearing one like this. I bought this when I came back to the States because I want to be able to wear this for the Sunday of our convention here in the US. Sunday after the session, a sister and I were talking, and I showed her my badge with my last name that, my maiden name that had been Polish. She was so excited. She took this necklace off of her and she put it around my neck and was just so excited to learn that this was my first time ever at Poland. And then the earrings were also a gift from another congregation. So it's really nice. Every region of Poland has a different style of dress. Some are closer to the border of Belarus, so it's more of a Russian influence, whereas the ones on the western side, closer to Germany, have more of a German influence, and south is a little different as well. So there's probably about 5 or 6 different regions and styles of clothing in Poland. Maybe there's even more, but that's kind of what I had been able to narrow it down in the short time we were there. So our last available touring day was on Monday, and I was able to go to this store called Paper Concept. So I'll put a lot of B-roll here of what that was like. Paper Concept is attached to Warsaw Tower, and Warsaw is an interesting building because it is the, how do they describe it? Tallest building in the EU with an observation deck. So you can go up to this outdoor observation deck and see all of these beautiful views. What I neglected to do was take pictures at night after sundown. So we went there at sunset, and then we went to a restaurant inside after sunset. We could have taken more pictures outside, but I think we were all so tired by the end of dinner that none of us thought about taking in the nighttime view of the observation deck after we finished. But I had noticed when we went in initially that this store was at that tower. What I hadn't realized initially, because we're still trying to get our bearings, was how close this store was to our hotel. So, come to find out, it was only like a 5 to 10 minute walk max from our hotel. There is a Polish brand, actually, there's two brands that are from Poland. One is called Roman Szmal, which has like that logo there, and the other brand is Renesans. So I wanted to make sure to visit because I had written in my notes, even though I didn't have a lot of time to prep for stationery shopping or watercolor shopping, I did watch a few videos before we went to Poland to get an idea of maybe what special colors I wanted to pick up specifically from these companies. So I already have a ton of other brands. You know, here in the US, we have Daniel Smith. I've used Winsor and Newton because that was the only brand I could get when we lived in Ecuador. So I have a lot of the staple, regular, plain pigment colors that I would need to pretty much watercolor anything. So, what I was specifically interested in was getting things that were unique to these brands as I visited there as a treasured item that I could bring back with me. So, the first thing that I found while I was there was this special kit by Roman Szmal, and it was specifically made for Urban Sketchers Convention last year. So you'll notice the city name is here, which is Poznan. That's the actual city that all of my dad's family is from. So this one really stood out to me. And the more I read about it, the more I liked the colors as well. So there's only 4 colors in here, but 2 of these are single pigment. So this yellow and this red are a single pigment, and then that sap green is a very popular color that they're known for. So I was glad to see that it was included in this kit. And then there were several reviews on Jackson's art website that said they had bought multiples of this particular kit because they love this granulating blue so much. It was specifically made just for the Skechers, Urban Sketchers convention. It's a special color made by Roman Szmal, and it can only be purchased in this kit. So there were some people who bought 2 of this kit because it's like a granulating mix of pink and blue. It's really beautiful. So the case itself is unique as well. It's kind of like if you remember the old school Crayolas, cornflower blue is kind of what the box reminds me of. And that was the logo for the Urban Sketchers convention that year. And then inside the tin, it has the Roman Szmal logo on the inside, and then those 4 colors. So I really liked the tin, and everything about it was just so unique. And of course, being part of Poznan, where my dad's family is from, made it extra special. And so I really wanted to pick up this one. Now, this is where the rushing got me, and I guess I wasn't paying attention. So I also loved that they had just empty, blank mini tin boxes. They had one in gold, and I meant to pick up the one in gold. I don't know how I ended up with the blue one, which is very close to this color. Slightly different, but very close. So this one I'm gifting to a friend. Hold on. I can get it out of here. Let's go this way. So just as cute, very cute blue tin here, but not the color I was looking to order. So maybe I'll order the gold one from uh, Jackson's Art now that I know I can get these on Jackson's. It's about the only place I've seen Roman Szmal at a decent price. Let me give you some pricing. So this one was, even though it was a special, limited edition, buying it in Poland was $20 with the 4 colors in it. And those are 4 full pans. Oh, 4 half pans. So with the 4 half pans and the tin, it was $20. Initially, when it was released on Jackson's, it was 47, and even, or it was 40, and even on sale now, it's 27. So I still saved a bit by buying this right from a vendor in Poland itself. This little box, I believe, was a little under $8, like around $7.50. So a really nice deal that I could get there. So now I'll show you the specialty colors that I made sure to purchase while I was there. I was looking for half pans, but the selection of half pans was very limited at this location. They only had the full pans. The highest I paid for a full pan was $6. And these are not student grade paints. These are specifically known for being artist grade, which is incredible for the price point. They range from, for a full pan, they range in Poland from, sorry, I'm beating on this microphone. In Poland, these pans, the full pans, range from $4 to $6, which is an incredible price point. Now, the disadvantages, none of these are available in tubes. They hand pour and small process every single color. So they are a honey base, all natural type of company. So it's very, these are very custom colors and custom made in small batches. So that's why they're so hard to find and they're so unique. But now that I've been introduced to them, it's been amazing. So it's interesting. I was reading the feedback of these watercolors from several of the urban sketchers that attended the event in Poznan last year. And so many of them said they've used Schminke, they've used Daniel Smith and Winsor Newton for years, but now they just look for Roman Szmal because of the quality of the artist grade and the color of these pigments. So this particular one is, let me get my glasses on. All right, so this one is color 332 in magenta. The nice thing about the full pans is that they are, let me try to focus here for you. There we go. Let me get my face out of the frame. So when you have the full pans, this is an actual piece of watercolor paper with the actual color already swatched on that piece of paper for you. So that is what it looks like. So that's the magenta. This color is 3359. It's their version of Potter's Pink. Really unique, really beautiful. This one is 310. It's a quinacridone rose. I just thought this would be so beautiful, like for watercoloring marigolds. That's like the perfect color for marigold flowers. And then this one is 344, which is known as Ocean Blue. This one is 347. And this one is known as Green Gold. Again, I thought that would be beautiful in the center of flowers. This one is a color that they are famous for and was the first color I looked for. This number is 346, and this one is called Aquarius Green. So this is a proprietary color of green that they are famous and known for. So I wanted to make sure to pick this up since it's such a famous color that they're known for. Another one that's pretty unique is this 415. It's called Misty Morning. I thought that was really cool for like urban sketching, say maybe a foggy or dreary morning in Europe or London, um, that kind of feel. I don't really have many purples, but they're really popular for their purples, so that's why I picked so many violets up. This one is 336 and it's called Shadow Violet. Really good for a lot of urban sketchers use that for shading, say on the sidewalk, especially evenings, night scenes or rainy scenes. I've seen that one used a lot. And then this one as well, Prisby's gray, which is kind of like a Payne's gray, but theirs is definitely a lot more on the purple side. The number on this one is 401. I don't know if I showed this one yet. 336, Shadow Violet. Again, used on a lot of shadows. So those are all of the items of Roman Szmal that I picked up. But they also had a huge selection of Renaissance. Now, with Renaissance, I hadn't had the opportunity to really research the colors as much, but a couple of videos that I found online talked about their gouache and how it's nearly impossible to find the gouache anywhere to purchase in the US. So I went ahead and picked up this set of 12, and let me see if I can open it without dropping everything. So these are 20 milliliter, oh, excuse me. These are 20 milliliter tubes of gouache. And I mean, look how huge. It's nice to have a huge one of white like this, titanium white. Okay. So this whole thing, I think it's 86 zloty. So you divide that by 4, so it's about $22 for all of this gouache. Not one tube, but all of it. So I definitely wanted to pick that up so that I could have some gouache from Poland as well, from a Polish manufacturer there. So after I did all these purchases and I bought a few gifts for a friend who does watercoloring as well, they gave me a free watercolor pad. So this one was neat. I'll tell you a story in a minute. First of all, it's 300 GSM. You can use it for watercolor, tempera paints, or gouache. There's 10 sheets. It's in a block, and it's made from Italian paper, 25% cotton, and it's a solid block. So come to find out, this thing alone weighs almost a pound. So you know how precious space becomes in a suitcase when you're traveling back and forth. When I weighed my suitcase to leave Poland and go to Paris, we were on a European airline. We were going to be on Air France. So I knew they were going to be super, super, super strict on their weight limit. And I was at 51 pounds. So we were trying to figure out how to shed weight. We ended up taking some candy that was given us. We had 3 pounds, actually, we had 6 pounds of candy. We ended up unloading 3 pounds of candy to regift that so that I could fit my 1 pound of paper in my suitcase. So my husband was really sweet. He knows how much this stuff means to me, more on the sentimental side, and how, I went to that store specifically because I wanted something from Poland that I had purchased for myself as a souvenir. And so he helped me shuffle and move things around between my suitcase and his suitcase, and we made it all work. So there will be another video of the things that we found in Paris as well. But here I hope to share a few clips with you about Poland, and maybe you'll get to fall in love with Poland as much as we did. Some things I can say about it that surprised us. I was very surprised how clean the country is. So we took the train, we took the bus, we took multiple buses. Um, some were privately booked and chartered by the organization we were traveling with, but others we took just the regular city bus. It was clean. We went to the metro station. The metro stations did not smell. They were exceptionally clean, very clear and easy to read signage, very easy to get around. You can use Uber very easily and affordably around town as well. But one thing I recommend for sure that I learned very quickly: get yourself a good pair of European walking shoes. There is a difference between what we consider walking shoes in the US and the amount of walking they do in Europe. If you've been, comment below and let me know your lessons learned about walking in Europe. So we were averaging close to 10 miles a day in our walks in Europe. And for the first time in my life, I caved and bought Birkenstocks. And I finally truly understand the love of Birkenstocks. So much so that at the end of the trip, I went and bought a second pair, since they're about 25 to 30% less if you buy them in Europe opposed to purchasing them in the US. So it was great. We really enjoyed our time there. If you have an opportunity to visit Poland, we highly recommend it. We were able to meet many friends in many different cultures: Ukraine, Russia, Italy. This particular event, there was also, I think, Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing those correctly. So it was very interesting to get to meet so many friends from so many different backgrounds and cultures. So I hope one day you have an opportunity to visit Poland as well. And if you do, check out their watercolor and gouache from Renaissance, as well as Roman Szmal. All right, in a future video, I'll show you our haul from Paris.